People ask me what the hardest part of my job is, which part I hate the most. Is it when I get it wrong, when the country blames me for drowning them or burning them? Is it that I'm just the butt end of the news, the polite conversation piece and nothing more? No, the answer is much simpler than that. It's green screens. Necessity is the mother of all creation, or so the saying goes. And you need it so much. You strive for safety and comfort in a world that refused to give it to you. And what a wonderful things you made. Bread, sliced bread, the toaster. Admittedly, you haven't quite got that one right yet. I just needed you. But here we are. You have safety, you have comfort, so what is left for there to create? Green screens. Technology solely and to enable the viewer at home to see a picture of a cloud more clearly. But James Cameron uses it, they said. We just wanted to stay ahead of the times. Well, James Cameron didn't have to throw out every green item in his wardrobe just to keep his job, did he? Now I'm stuck in this drab grey suit. Grey does not make my eyes pop. My eyes are not grey. Have I ever told you the story of the first cloud? I know you probably think it's a child's story, but to me you're all children, so I'm going to tell it anyway. It was a long time ago, long before green screens, long before blue screens even. A time before people understood phrases like cumulonimbus and caecilius est in tablino. A time before the dinosaurs did or didn't roam the earth. A time before words even existed to tell the story. You may then wonder how I know the story of the first cloud. I am the Weatherman. I know these things. Now, a lot of people will tell you that the first cloud was a lonely cloud, that being the first and only of its kind, it traipsed across the world looking for friends. But when it found none, it cried, and that's how rain first formed. That is simply not true. Long ago, the Earth was not the well-to-do planet about town that you currently live on. No, it was a hot, pubescent mess. Literally, red, angry spots of magma covering its surface, weird rocks sprouting up from places it had never grown from before, and it was starting to have strange feelings about the girl planets in the solar system. And it had races. It was not the place for a water molecule to live. And yet, live there they did, constantly at the whim of a hormonal planet that kept threatening to run away from its gravitational trajectory, forced never to see each other, never to form bonds, just to exist. But with time, the Earth cooled down and got its act together. Where the water molecules had once been forced to be steam, they were now able to become water. They were now able to come together. And boy, did they come together! It started with drips on cool rocks. These drips merged to form puddles, and these puddles lakes. Before long the world was covered by one huge ocean, a giant society of water molecules swirling around each other, finally able to be happy. And that's where they would have remained, if it weren't for one molecule. I'm going to call him Jeff. This is going to be embarrassing. I'm going to say something. Please don't judge me for it. Here goes. Homeopathy is right. Well, okay, it's almost right. The medical part of it is absolute rubbish. But the truth is, water molecules do remember. Jeff remembered. Jeff remembered a time when he flew through the skies, when he wasn't limited by the banality of the new Earth, but instead lived in fear of its every move. And it was exciting. He had to constantly dodge and dive, duck and weave, dream up new ways to live. Not like now. Now he was surrounded by friends. He was safe, and it was enjoyable, yes, but it was dull. No one was dancing with the same energy that they did when they danced the survival salsa. No, they were lazy now. They were comfortable now. They were stagnating. Jeff yearned for the old days, just to feel alive. He struggled and fought, tried to find some space to dance, but it was no good. They were cramped in. Every time he tried the Jeopardy jive, he stepped on his partner's shoes. Every peril paso doble would be met with no points and a stern look from Len Goodman. But as Jeff tried to dance, he slowly rose, and as he rose closer and closer to the surface, he saw others trying to do the same. They rose together, higher and higher, the light of the sun shining stronger and stronger until they reached the top. Jeff stopped. It was like a line in the stand had been drawn. Had beaches been around long enough to actually erode rocks to make the sand? Behind him lay his friends, the molecules he had spent so long yearning to be with. Ahead was the sky, where he could dance and be free forever. It was a lonely path, but it was the only path for Jeff. He didn't even say goodbye to his friends, mostly because he was a molecule and therefore couldn't speak, but at least partly because he couldn't bear to. Silently he rose into the sky to dance once more. And that's when he realized he wasn't alone. There were other droplets that hadn't forgotten, that hadn't become too complacent. All they needed was that one small push. They rose up together in one giant group dance. There was line dancing and square dancing. They even dabbled in Morris dancing, but no one ever spoke of that incident ever again. They swirled together, making their own path, pushing forwards together as one. Sure, they had lost some on the way, some returned to the comfort of the ocean, but the rest whirled together, content knowing that they could return if they wanted to. The first cloud was not a sad one. It was not a lonely one. It was a celebration. It was filled with pioneers who wouldn't just accept the world as it is. Pioneers who knew the world needed adventure. They wouldn't have invented the green screen. They would have brought the actual cloud into viewers' living rooms. They would have made the weather forecast more accurate. And they would have fixed the toaster at the same time, as if their life depended on it. Did you know that the first cloud still exists? It's floating above you right now, that big, grey, threatening one. That's the one. It might not be the same molecules in it anymore, but it's still the same one, still pushing forwards. They say I control it, that I made it, but I can only tell you about it. It's so much greater than I ever could have created. It's so much greater than me. I am just the Weatherman.